We're here with Bodhi Gallo. Appreciate you coming on, man. Bodhi owns a dumpster rental company in the New York City area, as well as a digital marketing agency called Stryker Digital. Super excited to dive into his experience building the dumpster rental company, insights he has from managing a marketing company for home services, and everything in between. So, Bodhi, appreciate you coming on today. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Same here. Super excited to chop it up with you. You're in an interesting position, like a few other guests on the Workbench, where you've gotten into the weeds of building a home services company, doing the blocking and tackling and really scaling a home service business, as well as having an additional revenue stream, which is marketing services for other home services companies. So you kind of wear two hats. And I find that the conversations with folks in that position have really good insights because you've done the work, but you also know some good strategies to grow any home service business, no matter the industry. So, yeah, just to kick things off, Bodhi, can you just give us a little background on yourself and the businesses that you run?
So, about 7 years ago, I got into not local SEO, just SEO itself. I had a finance blog my freshman year of college called Financial Freedom 101.blog. And I would write blog posts about like credit cards, investing in the S&P 500, simple personal finance stuff. And then I did that. Then I made a blog post about like best credit cards for young college students. It blew up. I made like $2,000 in referrals, and I was like, "What the hell? How am I making all this money?" I came across what SEO was. I just wrote like a good blog post, and it blew up. And then that summer, I worked for a company called Active International in Pearl River, New York. When I worked with them, I was in their marketing department. I worked for accounts like Kroger and Firehouse Subs. Then the following 2 years, I worked for Benjamin Moore and Co., the paint company. I was Division Two. I also worked in their marketing department, helped build their e-commerce platform during COVID. I also played Division Two lacrosse. Every single day on the lacrosse field, it'd be like 5 a.m. I'm running miles like on the field, and we're just seeing trucks pass by. Me and my cousin who's on my team, truck pass by. We're like, damn, we're out here busting our ass, and these guys are making money. Like, we're out here losing money, busting our ass, like, for no reason, pretty much, like, just hurting our knees. And we were like, we got to, like, we can't work out of college. Like, we got to do something where, like, we own something. So he came to me with a bunch of ideas. My uncle owns a big asphalt company and has a ton of connections within my community. So we looked at, like, 3 different businesses, and the only business that really stuck was the dumpster rental business. The reason why my cousin really wanted to do this with me is because I was studying marketing and social media marketing while like in college, and he was doing business management. So we were like, this is a perfect setup. Like, why are we going to go work some 9 to 5? Maybe I'll make 60K a year my first year in business. I mean, my first year working. Maybe I'll make that, like, if I'm lucky. It was during COVID. Everything was crazy. I just made a bunch of money in the stock market during that time because everything was going crazy. The SPAC boom, cryptocurrency, everything just financial system was nuts at the time, money being printed. And we were like, he came to me with a landscaping business, a seal coating business, and then dumpster rentals. And I was like, I got to do dumpster rentals. That's a great business. My girl's families had one of the largest companies in New York City. Everything, all the stars aligned. So we bought out a business. All we got was 20 dumpsters, an old truck, and a driver, a part of the existing business. We got a list of customers, no financials, just a list of how many dumps they did in the past 2 years. That's how we were able to like kind of see what the revenue and profit would be, just from seeing like how many dumps they did in the previous years. And we took a complete gamble, but I was like, I know we could build this thing. With my background and like who we know in the community, I know we could build this thing. I built us a website, Facebook pages, Instagram pages, and then just like started going crazy. Cold messaging realtors, cold messaging contractors, posting on my Google My Business profile, just pretty much everything you could do to grow a business we started doing from the ground up. The business had good bare bones. The guy we bought it from was like 65 years old. He was just done. He was just tired of running businesses. So we got it at a pretty good price, and we've been able to scale it since. Like today we have 55 dumpsters, 2 trucks running, and I'm about to get 5 more dumpsters the first week of April. I'm waiting for them to be delivered. And I just got 5 dumpsters last week. So the business is growing rapidly. There's times I can't even take clients and I have to subcontract them out to other businesses But the good thing about my market is a lot of us work together. A lot of us, our dumpster rental companies work together. So we're actually able to, let's say someone needs a 30-yard dumpster. My biggest dumpster is 20 yards. I'm still able to charge a customer for a 30-yard dumpster. I make $100 and the customer's happy and the other business is happy because I give them what they want for the 30-yard dumpster, which is really huge in my industry. Everyone pretty much charges the same price in my area, and we all charge the same prices, and pretty much whoever gives the best service and the best marketing gets the new customers.
Got it. So interesting starting story in terms of buying the business for the people that we've talked to for the most part. They're newer, earlier stage entrepreneurs, and so sort of the easiest path to get started is building something themselves and getting one client, then two, then five, then 10. Tell us a story about deciding to purchase the business and how that process went for you.
So in the home service space, I feel like the most opportunity is buying an existing business from a boomer. I feel like that is the biggest opportunity and way harder to succeed than something from the ground up. You'll probably have less cash burn too, because we already had an existing list of clients, and that was huge to me when he was like, okay, we have 10 roofers, 5 contractors, and all that stuff with a good word of mouth marketing, which at the end of the day, the best form of marketing is word of mouth marketing. Like if you're going to go to your best buddy and say, hey, who did your kitchen? It looks great. And he's like, here's this guy's number. You're probably going to get your kitchen done by that guy. So that's the best form of marketing at the end of the day. And this business already had a solid word of mouth marketing. It just had no technology on the back end. So to me, it was the perfect opportunity to be able to grow something, because we kind of grew it from the ground up where we had no digital landscape. So we built that side on the ground up, and that's how we were able to take the business from 300 grand a year to 750 grand a year. And this year we're looking to hit $1 million from just being able to add technology to the business. My first 2 years, I spent $90,000 on Google Ads, which is a shit ton of money. I'm sorry, am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Yeah. So like I spent a bunch of money on Google Ads, and I really just grew my business that way. Sometimes I was like not making the margins I wanted. I was just able to get recurring customers this way. And that's huge to me because like people like roofers, people like bathroom contractors, kitchen installations, siding companies, once they have their dumpster company and they're happy with your company and how you work, they're not going to shop around. Like as long as you pick up the phone every time and you get their dumpster on time, there's really no reason for them to shop around unless you're killing them on price. Luckily, in my market, we all charge the same price, so it's pretty tough to go to someone else.
After you close the deal, so you find the business you want, they have the good basics, they have a client list, they have dumpsters, and you're ready to take this thing digital and really scale it. What did the first 1 to 6 months look like once you closed the deal and had acquired the business?
First 1 to 6 months were hell. Honestly, they were hell at the end of the day. Pretty much, I just got thrown into this thing. Like, it was pretty much just like, here's a business, figure it out. This is how you pick up the phone. There really wasn't much guidance from the old owner. And like, honestly, I wouldn't really want guidance from him anyway. He even would tell us like, he's not a good businessman. He kind of just did this for fun. So pretty much it was just like, okay, you're owed $10,000. Now you have to go collect that. So for me, it was crazy to start out because our business is really based off of accounts receivable. The way we charge, it's a $300 drop-off fee, $124 per ton, and price is determined on the weight. So after we dump your trash, we collect your money. And for me, it was like, holy crap, we just did 10 dumpsters today. I got to go collect $5,000 now. And I got to collect that as soon as possible because we owe the dump $3,000 off that $5,000. So for me, it's like, we got to collect this money. Then we got to pay our credit card bill every single month. So it's a constant game of accounts receivable and catching up. A lot of other markets are different, but where I am in New York, we all charge that price. Like it's all pretty much the same price. But the first 6 months, pretty much like we started on a Monday and it was just like we created an Excel sheet and a container tracker. We have one Excel sheet that's just for drop-off dates. Then we have another Excel sheet that's just for pickups. And then on the pickup sheet, we have, okay, let's say we're picking up 20 Gallo Road in New City, New York. At the end of the day, we pick that up, we collect the dump slips, we put that into our Excel sheet, we put the weight of the dumpster, and then we start to send out bills from there. And then I just check everything off from the bills of what people owe us. And this system sounds probably like black and white over the phone, over podcast, but like for us, it works great because I'm able to track everything. At the end of the day, we get 10 dump slips, we input them into our Excel sheet, and then from there we say, okay, 20 Gallo Road in New City, 2 tons. And then we put the name of the contractor that rented the dumpster. And then I'll just contact them via FreshBooks. I don't use QuickBooks. I hate QuickBooks. We use FreshBooks, and that's how I'm actually able to bill people, just right out of FreshBooks. I send them a text link and an email link from there. So the first 6 months was all about getting my systems in place. And also the business is tons of logistics. So let's say I have 5 drop-offs and 5 pickups, and I have no dumpsters in my yard. I got to pick up, drop off, pick up, drop off, pick up, drop off. And for me, it was like we were growing too fast in the first 6 months where we didn't have enough dumpsters. So our service actually declined. And we were like, dude, we got to get a truck as soon as possible, and we got to get more dumpsters as soon as possible. So I was down. I went from investing 60 grand to get into the business to 110 grand within 3 months. Just for getting a new truck and dumpsters because we didn't have enough supply in our hands. And as I was 21 years old at the time, like as a 21-year-old, like making an investment like that was just an insane amount of money because I was able to put up the 60,000, but the rest of the money I had to borrow from the bank. And for me, like I was the type of guy who was always like anti-debt and whatnot until I was able to realize that I can make money off this debt and I can make way more money off this debt than not having it. So it was definitely a risk, but it has definitely paid off. And it was something where I had to reverse my thinking in order to be successful.
Yeah, no, that's something I think a lot of people are naturally adverse to debt, whether it's personal debt, and then that mindset kind of carries over into taking on debt for your business. So I want to get into kind of that approach, but you touched on a few tools there like QuickBooks, Excel, texting out links. Can you run us through the tech stack that powers the business behind the scenes and some of the tools that you feel are just critical? Yeah.
It's very simple. I use Google Sheets, 2 Google Sheets, and then FreshBooks. That's all I use. I do not use a CRM. People are probably going to roast me for that who's listening. I don't use a CRM. The reason why I don't use a CRM is because both my drivers are not technologically savvy at all. Like one of them has a flip phone and one of them has a Droid from 2015. So for me, it's pretty tough. But at the end of the day, like the trade-off of that is if I tell these guys to come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, they're there at 4:30 warming up the trucks. So there's trade-offs in everything. When I do get younger drivers and these guys actually retire, I am going to implement a CRM. I am friends with a dumpster rental CRM company, but at the moment I really can't do that because my guys really aren't that good at tech. So that's the one part of my business that's definitely lacking the tech side of things.
Understood. Going into the lending part, let's talk about like that startup capital, because whether you're 21 or 51, 60 grand is nothing to shake a stick at, right? Like that's a healthy sum. That's an annual salary for a lot of people. Walk us through the process and the mindset going into saying, hey, I'm going to put up a 60K in my own money. I'm going to assume that's like a healthy portion of, your savings and stuff. And then deciding to, get a loan on top of that. What was the mindset and the process for you to say, okay, like it's going to be worth it and I'm ready to take this risk to start this business?
Mindset was hell, honestly. It was total hell in my head because I had like 72 grand at the time and it was all in my stock account. So I actually had to take it out of my stock account. I had 12 grand in my checkings and then like 60 grand in my stock account. And I was able to take it out of my stock account and then buy into the business. And then I took 10 grand of that money and put it into like my business bank account. So me and my cousin had 10 grand. And I had 2 grand left over. I remember going to dinner with I'm like a big foodie. I remember going to dinner in New York City with my friend that weekend and him like feeling bad and being like, dude, like you just dropped all this money on this business. Like I had like no money and like we had like $150 dinner. And he's like, I just remember doing that dinner and being like, one day this won't be an issue at all. Like I won't even think about it. And that's just one story I'll never forget. Like, just that happening was just like life changing. And I'm a big fan of like eating shit, as what Gary Vee would say, who's a like guy I've been following a long time. I'm a big fan of just eating shit, and like the harder you work, you'll make the money back. And we have been able to do that, but I went many months with living off nothing. Like, just luckily I was living with my parents at the time, but I was living off nothing at the time, and it was craziness. And then getting the loan, luckily my uncle, we are a member of like only a New York and New Jersey bank. It was actually started by a contractor, and my uncle's on the board of that bank, so it was pretty easy for us to get a loan, easier than what it would be for most people. And we got a pretty good rate on it, especially because of that time. Rates were stupid low, so we were able to get a nice rate on buying more dumpsters and like another truck. So that part was the easiest out of everything. What was more scary was losing all of my money. Was more scary because at the point I was able to buy the truck and loan money, like get the loan of the money, I was like, this business is going to make it. Like, we're busy. Like, there's really nothing to be worried about. Like, there always is something to worry about because business is just a constant roller coaster. But I was just like, we can definitely do this. Like, I'm not worried about taking this money because it's affecting us more by not having this truck and dumpsters. Like, our business is doing worse because of it.
Right. So you were hitting a point where, yeah, there was a lot of demand, and you said, all right, if I'm going to meet this demand and keep maintaining this level of service, we need this loan to get the tools and the items we need to service these people.
Because if this loan like is like a 3% loan and we're making 35% on a dumpster, like, I'm making the spread right there. And that was something I had to wrap my head around, because that's something I was never really used to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's hard for a lot of people because, you know, we're told, and if you read any, you know, finance books, or you watch a Dave Ramsey podcast or whoever it might be, it's like avoid debt at all costs, but that's not always true in business if you know how to use it correctly.
Exactly. That's true for people that are employees, like, that are not in business. I feel like that's a good way of thinking. I do question a lot of Dave Ramsey's thoughts, but at the same time, it's good for some people. It definitely makes sense for like certain individuals. I'm just way too entrenched in the business game now, or like I could never live that way.
So let's talk about the challenges of the dumpster rental business. I know for me, as a individual person, I know that I see the dumpsters. I live in Santa Monica. There's always construction, new houses being built, and there's, you know, huge dumpsters on the street. So I understand the basics of the business, but for those that are, you know, only familiar with it from seeing a dumpster around town, I think it would be interesting to hear, like, what are the big 1 to 3 challenges that you face running a business like this?
Biggest challenge is CapEx. What I pay per month in insurance, truck payments, employee, workers' comp, gas, dump fees is ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. It's probably like $400,000 a year, $500,000 a year. Just that stuff. Like, to run my business, it's at least $15,000 a month to just run the business and keep the doors open, just to turn the key on your truck. That's definitely the biggest challenge. Second biggest challenge is finding labor that's dependable and that's fairly priced, because I could pay someone $40 an hour and they would be dependable, but my margins would significantly decrease, where I'm paying guys $25 and $28 an hour. They're old and they're not tech savvy, but they do show up to work. Or like, if I am going to hire someone and they're old timers, they're like 50 to 60 years old, just a retirement job for them, where, like, I hate to say it, but my generation, like, I'm 24 years old. It's tough. It's tough to find someone who's like 24 to 30 in this, that wants to wake up every morning and work and drive a truck. Just not many people want to work. And I think that's another big thing about blue collar businesses right now is these kids coming up, the competition's just, it's easier because people have just gotten softer at the end of the day. That's my own personal opinion. And my third biggest struggle with the business is, it's a tough question, accounts receivable. Because I'll have roofers that just take forever to pay. And it's just like, they're giving me work. They'll give me 4 dumpsters a week, but they'll pay me in like 2 weeks. So that's one thing that's really annoying. It's just like, some of these contractors I deal with are just not not like they're living job to job, and I'm pretty much fronting them jobs sometimes. And there's times I got to be like, dude, like we're done working with you, call someone else. And I've had to fire customers before, but there's guys that just give me so much work where like I'm fine with giving them a net 30 if I have to. Like not spotted, but I work with like a property management company, and they're always net 30. So one time I did like $20,000 worth of dumpsters with them, and my profit off that was like 12,000. And I waited like a month and a half for that. And it's like I have other customers and I got other dump bills. So I'm chasing other customers just to pay my credit card bill for that month. And I know I have this money coming. It's just taking too long. So accounts receivable, like any business, is always an issue. And I've incentivized some guys in order to pay me quicker. Because at the end of the day, the quicker your accounts receivable are, like the more healthy your cash flow is and your business.
For the dumpster rental business, let's say I'm listening to this and I'm, a W-2 worker making decent money, but I'm just tired of the rat race. And I'm like, man, I got to get out of this. I want to start a sweaty startup. I want to start a blue collar business. This dumpster rental sounds really interesting. What advice, or what would you say to that person? And what advice might you give them? Would you say, don't do it? It's too hard. Would you say, go for it? What advice would you say to someone in that position thinking about starting a dumpster rental business?
This question probably daily. It all depends on your market. The thing about this business, it's a high barrier of entry. Another thing about this business is it's getting oversaturated in a lot of places. A lot of guys just have their F-350 in a trailer and they're just buying 3 dumpsters, and it's a big race to the bottom. I would tell people you need at least $100,000 to do this business, and you have to be willing to go full in on it and not be able to keep it as a side hustle. A lot of guys on YouTube will tell you, oh, it's a side hustle, make an extra $60,000 a year doing the dumpster rental business with 3 dumpsters. Like, that is just not true. There's a ton of maintenance and a ton of capex with these businesses, but I would tell people at least be willing to invest $100,000 if you're going to do this, and you have to do market research. I would never start this business in Texas, Florida. In the South, these businesses are just super oversaturated, and there's a lot of monopolies, especially in California too. There's a lot of monopolies where the government contracts out one company, either Waste Management or IWS. Like there's a couple companies, Waste Connections, that the government just contracts out, and like their drivers will get paid extra if they spot your business out if you're operating illegally. And then there's markets like New Jersey, where in New Jersey you need to get a DEP license, and it takes 2 years to get that and $10,000 with a lawyer to get that. So if you can get that in that market, there's going to be less competition, and it's a more profitable business because there's less competition. Usually the guys are working together. Same with my market. Like in order to get a license in my market, you have to know somebody. Otherwise, it's difficult to get a license. And that's just like a New York, New Jersey thing, honestly. But in a lot of markets, it totally depends on where you are and how the competition is, because I will emphasize markets like Texas, Florida, California, the business is not worth it to start. The competition is just too much competition, and a lot of people own the landfills, and you're competing with the people that own the landfills. They make their own prices up. That's one thing about this business. If you can own the whole supply chain, it's a $10 million plus business. Because with the supply chain in this business, like everything goes to the landfill, but in a lot of places, they have transfer stations that bring stuff to the landfill. And then in between those transfer stations to the landfill, there's trucking companies that actually take it to the landfill. And then there's companies like mine, which dumps it at the transfer station. So if you could rent the dumpsters, own the transfer station, and then own the company that takes the garbage from the transfer station to the landfills, you have a $10 million plus business, like VCs, salivates, and stuff like that. My girlfriend's family had something like that, so that's how I know like the whole supply chain that way. There's just so many barriers in places like to make money in this business. It's not just renting dumpsters.
Do you want to own the entire supply chain one day?
I do not want to do that. I honestly prefer to like figure something out where, so cardboard is something like you could sell cardboard to China. You can export cardboard to China, or something like car tires. I see like you can't get rid of car tires, and if you do, you're paying like $10 a car tire. So where I see like, what's the word called? Where I see opportunity is finding a niche like we will take your car tires for free. We will then cut it up and turn it into like turf pellets, or like we'll sell it to a company that uses a country that uses rubber. That's where I see opportunity for myself in this business, because the supply chain first in my county, I could never own a transfer station because it's all regulated. You can only dump at dumps that my county owns where I am, so everyone has to pay their same price. But in other places, it's not like that, and you make up whatever price you want. If you want to charge $100 a ton, people have to pay $100 a ton.
Got it. All right, man. So let's talk a little bit about Stryker Digital. Grow organic leads and accelerate revenue growth with a proven SEO strategy. Tell us a little bit about this business and why you decided to start this in addition to your dumpster rental business.
So this business is a business like these businesses you can start from zero, and I recommend over like buying one out. So this is a business. Digital businesses I like, you can start from zero. The reason I started it though is it's funny. When I got into the dumpster business, I wanted to do like marketing for financial advisors because I had the blog Financial Freedom 101. I had that blog. I wanted to do this for financial advisors. When I got into this industry, I was like, there's such an opportunity. Nobody is doing marketing correctly. I got my business ranked for SEO within like 2 months. And it was kind of a no-brainer for me to do this for other businesses, other service businesses. Me and my partner, Andy, have been members of like a stock group chat for like 7 years now. I've known him a long time. He was learning coding while I was building out the SEO side of things for my dumpster business. And we were like, let's just start an agency. Pretty much we just started an agency one day, and we've been able to grow it a ton. But just for me seeing the opportunity and seeing like, wow, so many service businesses are not doing this that well, I was like, we could kill this for people. And that's pretty much what we've done for a lot of people around the country. We also have a ton of data collected from every single state in the country. Pretty much we have at least one client, so we have a ton of data collected. And at this point, I know so much about these markets where like someone can come to me on Twitter and be like, hey, I want to start a dumpster business in Austin, Texas. Like I'll straight up tell them I don't think it's a good idea unless you have X capital or you buy out a specific business, because from the data I've collected, like I just see how much competition is in certain places. But we pretty much started it because I needed something else to do. My dumpster business is pretty automated at this point. So we just started saying like, let's do this digital agency and see how it goes. And it's pretty much flourished since. I was never really a Twitter guy until like September of last year. So like about 8 months it's been. I was on a podcast over the summer, and this guy was like, you got to create the dumpster rental guy, dude. Like, what are you doing? And I just started tweeting about the dumpster rental business, and it just started going crazy.
Yeah, I think the guy accounts do well because they're super niche and they're specific, and people like to get that kind of value add information. In terms of the SEO, so can you tell us a little bit about what I would do to get my site to rank better? Let's say I'm starting a dumpster rental in a market that makes sense, or I'm starting a cleaning business. Can you share some insights around like the best practices for getting your site ranked?
Best practices. So we're all about getting your Google My Business profile ranked. Not even the site. It's more about the Google My Business profile. But for us, our best practices are make a website, preferably built on Webflow, WordPress, or custom coded. And then build out a website with your main services, your main area you're targeting. Then build out service area pages on the back end of that. Pretty simple. On the bottom of those service area pages, embed your Google My Business profile. Then we have our own secret sauce with that that we do for every single service area, every single Google My Business profile, map, embed. As long as you build those things out, that's very basic SEO structure. And then just stuff as in taking your Google My Business profile, filling every single thing out that you can, and then connecting your website to your Google My Business profile. So what we tell people is we build your profile out as if it was like an Instagram or Facebook page, where a customer, before they even pick up the phone and speak with you, they are going to check out your profile. Like they're going to be sold on your business by the professionalism of your profile. But that's some like simple, basic SEO stuff we do for people. I'm a part of like a big community of other SEOs, so a lot of us work together around different areas within the country. And that's just some stuff like not every SEO guy could, like person starting a business could do. Like all the SEO guys on Twitter, we're all friends. We all talk all the time, have group chats and whatnot. So a lot of us work together around the whole entire country. It's a pretty niche thing.
Yeah, and as I've gotten more into the home services industry with the Workbench and my SaaS company, I'm realizing that, ranking in that Google My Business pack is kind of like the gold standard for these businesses. And it makes sense too, as a consumer, if I need something, I'll search, mechanic plus Santa Monica and just look at who has the best reviews on Google. And the first thing my girlfriend always asks me when we're looking at a restaurant or looking to work with a business is, how are the reviews? How are the reviews? So just getting those 5-star reviews and ranking there, I think, are just kind of everything when it comes to net new customer acquisition.
Is everything. We're big believers. Social proof is everything. Even when we build out websites or whatnot, like we always put as much social proof as possible, as seen on Fox News, something like that, or like 5-star review. Like we have pop-ups like that of customers doing 5 stars reviews, but social proof is everything, especially in home service businesses. If you have a house cleaning company and you have 2.5-star reviews, nobody is going to hire you because you're going into someone's house and cleaning their stuff. Like you're in their bedroom cleaning. So you have to have a lot of social proof and trustworthiness, because I'm not going to hire someone to clean my house if they have only 2-star reviews or like stuff like that. So that's super important for home service businesses.
Yeah. So love it. We got the dumpster rental business. We got Stryker Digital helping other home services businesses optimize their SEO. What's the future entail for you, Bodhi? What's the next 5-10 years look like? Do you want to keep growing dumpster rentals, more digital businesses? What's that plan look like for you?
Like the digital business game, I'm definitely looking to build more of those. Just the dumpster rental business is pretty automated at this point. I would consider it semi-passive. I know there's no such thing as passive income. I still deal with a lot of bull crap, but it's as passive as I can get it at this point. But for me, like I'd like to push my money into real estate, triple net leases, stuff like that is what I'm more interested in than like buying an apartment building. Somewhere where it's safe to park cash. It doesn't matter if the margins are smaller. If I can get 14% on a property, I'm happy with that per year. But at the end of the day, I'd like a diversified portfolio of dumpster rental, my dumpster rental business, an online business, and some sort of real estate. Is definitely a goal of mine to do within the next 10 years.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Bodhi. Where can people find you? Your company websites, your personal presence on social. Where can folks connect with you?
So you can find me on Twitter or X at iRentDumpsters. And then my business website is stryker-digital.com. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Bodhi, thanks for coming on. Have a good one, man.
You too.